Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The leftist anti-austerity Syriza party has swept to victory in Greece. Syriza won 149 seats in the 300-seat parliament, too short of an absolute majority. This marks the first time since the economic crisis in 2009 that a member of the 19-nation Eurozone will be led by a party rejecting German-backed austerity. The head of the Syriza party, Alexis Tsipras, will become Greece's new prime minister.
Greece is turning a page. Greece is leaving behind catastrophic austerity. It is leaving behind the fear and the autocracy. It is leaving behind 5 years of humiliation and pain. Today, there are no winners and losers. Today, Greece's elite and Greece's oligarchs were defeated. Our victory is also victory for all the people of Europe who are fighting against the austerity that is destroying our common European future.
Supporters of Syriza praise the party's vow to renegotiate Greece's debt agreements and its willingness to oppose the austerity measures demanded by the European Union and International Monetary Fund.
Before we get started, please check out our sponsor, Lear Capital. Click the link below right now. Buy gold, buy silver. Do it today. Again, folks, I can't think of a better time to buy gold with Greece on the chopping block, with the Eurozone in tatters, with record debt here in the United States, with the U.S. stock market trading at an all-time high. There's a reason smart investors own gold and silver. It's real money, it's real wealth, it's real protection. Gold is not a short-term investment. It's long-term diversification. Pick up a phone right now and call Lear Capital. Click that link below and download a free investor kit. Take control of you and your family's financial future right now. Do it with Lear Capital, the precious metals leader. Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television. We have a big day in global financial markets with Greece on the chopping block. And the question on everybody's mind is, will Greece stay or will they go? Will Greece stay or will they go? That's the big question. You know, I think in the short term, they'll strike a short-lived deal with the Eurozone, with the Troika, with the whore bag that makes up Angela Merkel. Because Greece actually holds, I believe, most of the leverage right now. Let me explain this. Let's say Greece, the Syriza party, the newly elected anti-bailout, anti-austerity party, you know, the people of Greece have been in the streets with their pitchforks. It turns out they don't like debt. They don't like austerity. They don't like getting screwed by the banks, by these central bankers, by these central planners, papering over the debt since the last bailout in 2010. You see, if Greece can't get their loan from the West, from the Eurozone, from Angela Merkel, all they have to do is step over here and get lending from the competition, either Russia and or China, the BRICS nations. Now, if Greece was to do that, that would be extremely significant politically because it would give Vladimir Putin a footprint right smack dab in the heart of the Eurozone. A NATO country. I mean, he could even put strategic military bases right in the heart of Europe. You see why we're at war with Russia? You see why there's all of this dogma, all of this propaganda, this painting of Vladimir Putin like he's the next Hitler, like he invaded Ukraine. I even read a story from the Pentagon, I believe it was, that accused and claimed Vladimir Putin of having Asperger's syndrome. I mean, these stories are absolutely ludicrous. But again, Greece is on the table, and it's very significant because it's one of the first pigs nations, Portugal, Italy, Ireland, Greece, Spain, to potentially leave the euro. Even Alan Greenspan, the former chairman of the Federal Reserve, agrees with me. He says the euro is doomed. The Eurozone is going to break apart. Maybe not in the short run. Maybe they'll sign a short-term deal, but it's going to fall apart. It's going, and already is, largely destroyed. But Alan Greenspan, part of the New World Order, brings up something very important. He says specifically that in order to continue or to fix the Eurozone, not only do they need to be economically integrated via a single currency, the euro, even though it hasn't been working. I don't know why you'd want to do that after 20 plus years. It's already going in the shitter, in the toilet. But not only that, he says something very important. He says they would need to be integrated politically. Now, I want you to think about that for a moment, because this was conspiracy theory years ago. In addition to being integrated with a single currency, the euro, he says that the Eurozone, the 19 member states, need to be integrated politically. Doesn't that sound like a new world order to you? See, this is what the program is about, because, again, nations are bankrupt. Just like here in the U.S., the Federal Reserve has $4.5 trillion worth of debt on its balance sheet, most of it which are mortgage-backed securities that it bought from the last crisis in 2008 and 2009. We don't even know the percentage of those that are distressed mortgages. It also has derivatives on its balance sheet. I mean, it's insane. It only has tens of billions of dollars in equity compared to the trillions of dollars worth of debt. I mean, this is leveraged 6 times worse than Lehman Brothers was prior to the collapse of 2008 and 2009. Yet the establishment wants to go out and attack presidential candidates like Rand Paul for wanting to audit the Fed. If the Federal Reserve had to mark its book to market, it would be insolvent. It is bankrupt. It is broke. Again, it's worse than the too big to fail banks. It's the taxpayers that bought all the bullshit in 2008 that'll now be living the repercussions of what's to come. Another systemic shock. And the Greek people, the people of Greece, they know this. It's exactly why they put in an aggressive Syriza party to negotiate, to try to change things for the better for their people. To address things like structural unemployment, not these bogus numbers that we get here in the United States of America. It's amazing to me, with all this on the table, all of this happening in reality, with mainstream credibility at an all-time low. Brian Williams lying straight to the American people's faces that there's not more angry peasants in the streets. Again, the elite, those that meet in Davos every year and buy and eat and chomp on $45 hot dogs, need to maintain order. It's how they're getting wealthier. It's how they're buying pet projects in New York City that overlook Central Park, these $25 million plus condos that nobody lives at, that the global elite that's been ripping off everybody around the world buys to diversify their portfolio, to park their criminal cash. You see, the Federal Reserve here in the United States, folks, is criminal. The Eurozone, these players, these whore bags, these money printers like Angela Merkel, criminals in the Eurozone. They're ripping you off, and it's all falling apart. It's exactly why there's a war against Russia. It's exactly why they've artificially driven oil prices into the shitter. It's exactly why the Swiss bank, not too long ago, with a surprise move, depegged from the euro, because they know the euro is going into the shitter. There are some major banks here in the States and around the world that say the euro could drop to 90 cents to the dollar. When, not if, when Greece eventually leaves the Eurozone. Again, which pig's nation will be next after that? Which peasants from which country are going to get into the streets and riot and elect the equivalent of their Syriza party? What sucks about the upcoming election here in the States is we don't have a lot of quality candidates. The only person close is Rand Paul. He's the only guy saying, audit the Fed. Hold these scumbags accountable. No, vaccines should not be mandatory. And the mainstream media and establishment treats this guy like he's insane. A constitutionalist. Somebody who actually values America and values the country. I've thrown a few criticisms at Rand Paul in the past, but the more and more I see how this is shaking up, the more I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe we should support this guy. Maybe we should give him more ammunition, so to speak. We need somebody to stand up to these people. We need somebody to stand up to this political union, this more integration. Because you know what they're going to do next? When everything crumbles to the ground and fails again and there's another systemic shock that makes 2008 and 2009 look like a church picnic, when you're on the streets, when you've lost everything, they're going to tell you that the solution is more integration, that we need an even greater political union so that these criminals can maintain their power and control over the world. You know, have these people forgotten? It's the people. They represent the people. It's not the other way around. We, the people, have the power. We, the people, organize. We, the people. This is a representative government here in the United States of America, not the other way around. These are the problems that we're dealing with. A Hillary Clinton running for the third term of Barack Obama in 2016. Another freaking Bush from this elitist kingship clan. It's a friggin' joke. It's why this country is in the toilet. I agree with Rand Paul. Audit the Fed today. Throw these criminals in jail. Let's take our country back. Let's take Europe back. Viva la revolution! I'm Christopher Green. Get it out everywhere. Make it viral. Hard hitting it in your face. And click the link below to support our sponsor.